The search for Nancy Guthrie is nearing 100 days, and her friends and neighbors are starting to lose hope of her ever being found.
We think about it not getting solved, and yeah, we a little worried. Yeah, that it's a worry for all of us, for sure.
And now there are renewed calls to allow the Cajun Navy search and rescue teams to assist with the investigation. All of their previous offers to help have gone ignored. My question to the Pima County Sheriff is, what do you have to lose at this point? Many others agree. There's an online petition imploring the sheriff, Chris Nanos, to accept the help. Joining me now is NewsNation senior producer and the author of the brand new book, Murder and the Media, Allison Weiner. Allison, great to see you tonight. So you were out there outside Nancy's house for weeks. Now, of course, after 88 days, Pima County needs to respond to other crime in the area. Tucson is notorious for crime. They need manpower to go out and handle that, which, of course, shifts resources away from Nancy's case. As we mentioned, the Cajun Navy is a large network of people who are trained and willing to help with this. Why not use them?
I don't really understand why they're not saying yes. I think the fact is they're not only not saying yes. I spoke with Brian Thrasher, who is like the spokesperson for the Cajun Navy, and he has, been on NewsNation quite a bit. And we talked about this on the phone last night, and he said, we haven't heard anything. He's not even responding. And people should know that the proposal that they're putting forward is something that will be they would have dogs, they would have drones, and they offered this before. They would work with the sheriff. They're not going to do any publicity. I mean, they are used to working with local law enforcement and letting local law enforcement give them tips on where they might want to search. They don't care to search around the crime scene. That's not the point. I mean, I went out to the desert with a retired detective to look at, how dense it is and how difficult it would be. And they need people like the Cajun Navy if they're going to look. And possibly...
Yeah, there's a lot of territory to cover, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting back to the crime scene you just mentioned, of course, Nancy Guthrie's house. You and Brian Enton were the first people in the country to spot the blood outside of her home and walk right up to it and document it. Can you tell us what you think the blood spatter reveals about her last moments at the home? We haven't heard anything about this really from law enforcement.
Well, we spoke to, Brian spoke to Jim Clemente, who's a retired FBI profiler who did an analysis of the blood splatter, and he said some of those rings are clear, and there's like a ring around the outside, some of the drops, and that means that there was air in them. And he believes that Nancy made her last stand at the door when she thought that they were going to take her somewhere, and that she got hit there and coughed up some of that blood. And when it's clear on the inside, that means that there's oxygen, there's air inside of some of those bubbles of blood splatter. And it's just like a horrific notion, but he went through it, and he says you can see also that she coughed because there's a place in the blood splatter that shows like aspirated blood, and he believes that from that she was probably picked up, but she was hunched over probably about a foot from the tile there because of the way the drops have fallen. And it's really an awful analysis, but I think it's what they always say. She must have realized that if you're being involved in a crime and they try to take you to a second location, that you should try not to go, because then they will have complete control over you. Yeah. And I think that she realized that, but she was 84.
Well, let's get to your book before we go, Murder and the Media. Just tell us about it.
Well, I will hold it up. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Thanks for coming on.
There.
Yes.
It's interesting because my book covers 4 different cases, and one of them is a case that kind of is similar in some ways, the case of the abduction, rape, and murder of Holly Bobo, who was a 20-year-old nursing student in Tennessee. And Holly's family had to wait 3 years before, and hoping and searching before her remains were found. And during that period, there was a lot of re-victimization of the family as they waited, and the focus was on the family, almost up until they finally turned and found the people that had actually killed poor Holly. And, I talked with that family, what I'm doing in my book, and I tell you the shocking details behind the scenes. These are things I haven't written about, that I only tell my husband or my close friends about the cases that I cover. And we're basically talking to neighbors. I did that in Holly Bobo, and we're going to be telling people about what really happened in that case, the case of Robert Blake, and 2 other high-profile murder cases.
Well, it sounds like you're getting the human side of what's happening behind the scenes when these horrific crimes are committed, talking to the families, talking to community members about what actually is going on and how they're feeling. So everybody get her book, Murder and the Media. Allison, great to see you.
It's
Thanks
out
so much.
now.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.